Hello and welcome to Dreamers and Doers, Women Changing the World. And these are inspirational interviews with amazing entrepreneurs, dream builders, and difference makers. I'm Carolina Stevens from Journey to Empowerment, and I'm so thrilled to be welcoming Betsy Klein to today's episode. Hi, Betsy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let me tell you a little bit about Betsy. So Betsy is the co-founder of Plan B to Save Wolves, and as well as co-founder of the Sedona Wolf Week. And what Plan B does, it assists in supporting nonprofits with wolf and wolf dog rescue, as well as advocating and educating the public on the plight of the wolves in the wild. And under Betsy's leadership, the foundation has quickly expanded in both scope and reach, becoming nationally recognized as an extremely effective grassroots animal advocacy organization. So congratulations, Betsy. It sounds like you're making an incredible impact. And so my first question to you is, where did this love or this passion for wolves start? What was this moment where you knew this was your job to help wolves?
Well, it actually started in Sedona, of all places. I worked at the Humane Society of Sedona, and in 2012, wolves were getting a lot of the spotlight because they were losing their protections in certain states, like Montana, as an example. Shortly thereafter, a friend of mine in Sedona, Ray Nichols, I always blame her for this, took me to see the wolf dogs down in Rimrock, the Healing Wolf. I know probably many people listening have visited Healing Wolf and her wolf dogs down in Rimrock at the Medicine Wheel Lodge. And that's where I got to interact and connect with a wolf dog, which is not a wolf, right? But it definitely gives you the sense of what incredible intelligent creatures these animals are. When I moved to California briefly, I volunteered at an organization called Wolf Connection, and that's where I truly got to interact with these animals, these wolf dogs, and learn more about the wild wolf. When I moved back to Sedona, my husband, Timon, said, you got to do something. You got to keep doing this work. What is it that you want to do? And what we wanted to do was create an organization that was different than all others, that actually would help all other organizations when it came to wolf dogs, as well as continue to bring awareness and education in regards to the wild wolf and what's going on with them in our time today. So.
Wow, yeah, and quite a journey you've been on, and wolves have been accompanying you all the way. And so,
Yeah.
but I'm really curious, what was the moment when you were interacting with them? I mean, because you have such a passion and such a love, and you've spent so much effort and your life force on saving wolves. What is it that really, the moment that touched you?
Well, you use the photo in the promotion for this event, and it's me getting kisses from the wolf dog down at the Medicine Wheel Lodge with Healing Wolf. And it's that moment when you realize that, these beautiful creatures are probably the most persecuted, misunderstood animals on the planet. There's all kinds of myths and lies about them that simply aren't true, that are meant to instill fear in people and therefore make people not understand how much these animals need to be protected. And so it was in that moment, and again, I know it's not an actual wolf, and we talk about that with Wolf Week and the Ambassador Pack, but that's the closest I'm going to get to having that connection with, that physical and then emotional connection with wolves. And it moved me. It just moved me. And when I went back to LA through happenstance, which I don't really believe, I do believe things happen for a reason, I ended up volunteering at Wolf Connection, where I was literally picking up poop and cleaning 30 bowls a day and chopping raw meat up to my elbows and loving every single minute of it. I mean, it was just, to me, it was the greatest gift. And that gift empowered me even more. And it also introduced me to my dearest friends, Paula Ficara and Steve Westell of Apex Protection. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Paula. And from there, everything just started to evolve. You know, we got this idea for Plan B. My husband did. He actually named it, because he calls me B. So, and he'll always say, what's the Plan B? And so he named the nonprofit. And then we just started small. We just started helping. Small rescues, and then Wolf Week was born, and then 4 years later, here we are with several, very proud, several major accomplishments under our belt, and hundreds of lives saved because of that work. So
wow, that's amazing. And would you like to share some of the accomplishments, some of the key things that you've achieved?
Yes, well, the tangible. So I'd like to talk a little bit about that from a tangible and an intangible aspect. The tangible is, yes, lives saved. Anyone can go on our website. You will see by year, because we've only been in existence just over 4 years, the wolf dogs that we have saved through donations. Sometimes it's a lot of money, and sometimes it's just that little extra money needed to make the fundraising goal. And these funds are distributed to nonprofits and individuals who are doing everything they can to help rescue wolf dogs. We have funded transport, medical services, food, containment, training, anything we can do to get that wolf dog from where it is into either a safer place temporarily with a foster, or a permanent, loving, forever home or sanctuary. Depends upon the wolf dog. But the biggest, the most lives saved, we're doing during the High Desert Wolf Rescue, which is, 2 years gone now. And I'm sure a lot of people are like, why is she still talking about that? Well, because Plan B, unlike many other organizations, we actually stay committed to the wolf dogs that we have helped save. So we are in constant communication with several sanctuaries and rescues and individuals that have HDW wolf dogs from that big rescue. In fact, we can talk about this a little bit later. We're working on a fundraiser right now to bring veterinary care to some of them. So we stay committed to those animals even after they've left our immediate, even after they're placed. And we help fill that niche. So we got several calls over the holidays. These animals are going to be shot. Can you help? And sometimes, it's just that little bit extra money that helps get that wolf dog safe. So we're very proud of that. From an advocacy standpoint, we also like to think we've saved the lives of hundreds of wildlife here in Arizona. We were part of a very small group of people that started out. Now, wildlife killing contests, I won't get into too much detail, but I'm pretty sure most people know what they are. But they're horrible. They're terrible. Deplorable. It's a senseless killing of wildlife for nominal cash prizes or belt buckles. And it's a violation of our public lands and wildlife that we all enjoy. And it was what we did here in Arizona was the perfect example of how important your voice is, because we started local in our communities, in our city halls, and our county commissioners, and slowly chipped away at this campaign to the point where by the time Arizona Game and Fish decided to listen to what we had to say, we had 30% of the state on our side in terms of resolutions and proclamations banning wildlife killing contests. And from there, we picked up the momentum, and it was the 4th state in the nation to have those killing contests banned. That campaign we are now using in other places. I'm currently working with Erica. I hope she's listening. Erica is based in North Carolina, and we're helping her with her campaign there to end them. And there's several other states where legislation or rules are on the table where we're assisting where we can.
Wow. So yeah, you've got some amazing accomplishments. So my guess is you must have gone through some pretty tough times as well in the process. And so what are some of your darker moments, in the last 4 years? So, and I'd like to touch on that and some of the intangible aspects that I talked about. You can have these really proud, amazing moments of your accomplishments. And I'm a big believer that words matter. The words that we use, once they're said, once they're spoken, can't be taken back.
and the ripple effect of those words and your actions. And, you know, it's interesting how some of the toughest times came from the community itself that I thought would be on my side. So in the rescue community, and that's something I'd like to address, you know, hopefully in the future, is more collaboration and connection and communication. That, you know, at the end of the day, it's really just all about the animals. It should always just be about the animals. So some of the darkest moments, you know, come from the rescue side, come from, you know, working really hard on someone and, you know, seeing your name get slaughtered all over Facebook. Or you gotta love Facebook. But then in terms of advocacy, you know, you can have a really good day, and then, you know, you're working really hard, because fighting for wolves is, our dear friends at Wolves of Rocky always like to say, is a marathon. And it certainly is. And you click on your email and there's more bad news coming through about wolves. They've recently been delisted. This year, January 4th, under the Trump administration, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife did delist gray wolves. They're no longer protected under the Endangered Species Act, except in some locales. And, you know, it's horrible. It's, people can't wait to go and kill a wolf. So, you know, you just got to remember the long haul. It's okay to cry. I'll go and I definitely have those moments. You gotta let that go. It's okay to be mad. But, you know, you pull yourself up. You remember all your friends doing this with you, and people who've been doing it a heck of a lot longer than I have. And I learn from them and I keep going. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So it sounds also, you were sharing with me that you got the marketing experience in sales, and you kind of were trained in that environment to, that's sort of coming in handy now in your work, to really have that strength and not giving up. And would you like to talk a little bit on that?
Yes, I actually spent 12 years at a marketing agency called the Marketing Partners. It was run by a woman named Dory Ford, and I hope she's listening, because she taught me a lot. And we were a small yet mighty agency. We had major clients, and we always said yes. So we'd be in a meeting, right? And the client would ask something of us, and sometimes, you know, it would be like immediate and rush, and can you get this done? And we always said yes. And then we went back to the agency, and it was all hands on deck, all egos checked at the door. How do we get this done right, and done right, and done to exceed their expectations? And then we would just do it. And that is the kind of environment that I like to try and foster in the teams and groups that I work with when we're doing our rescue and our advocacy work. And I can say now that the team we have for Plan B, I'd like to give a shout out to Rebecca and Jessica, if you're listening. And, you know, we're all hands on deck. We got to get it done. It's not, this is my lane and that's your job. It's, how can I help? Where do we overlap? Where can I pick up? What makes sense? And I encourage an environment much like Dory did, is this isn't working, so what do we need to change right now to make it work? And that's what I love about our organization, is we're still at the size that we can do that, right? Nimble, be very nimble, malleable, pivot. And I think that's really important, because things change in a heartbeat. Situations change in a heartbeat. So, and then strategy. You know, a lot of times rescue is marketing strategy. It's political. It's psychological. It's, you know, logistical. It's not just, let's move this wolf dog from one place to another. Sometimes that's all it is. And sometimes there's a whole bunch of other stuff involved as well. You could be dealing with very high emotions. Need to be strategic sometimes about where things go. There's definitely politics. And I think understanding and having those techniques and strategies is also what has helped us be so successful.
I mean, it really sounds like the work you've accomplished is like 10 or 15 years worth of work, but really you started this in 2016, right? So that's incredible. So
we did, and I would say the real work, you know, Yeah, it really took off in 2018, I would say. But yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much dedication and persistence and passion that you're pouring into this cause. And I know
Yes,
I come from Germany originally, and I grew up with the Grimm's fairy tales, right? And so the big bad wolf. And so I think we probably conditioned in subconsciously that the wolf is something bad. And so I would love for you to share with us what a wolf really is, and the importance of it, and also maybe the difference between a wolf and a wolf dog, and yeah.
Oh, sure.
Just for our audience who
Sure.
are not so clued into this field.
Absolutely. So wolves, there was a little short film going around where they portrayed kids in cages waiting for their school buses because they were afraid that the wolves that they have here in Arizona, the Mexican gray wolves and other wolves, were going to come and tear them away from the bus stop. And I'll never forget my first Wolf Week here in Sedona, that someone actually wrote to the mayor and said that, and believes it. And it's 100% not true. It was an anti-wolf propaganda film, and it works. And it works for exactly the reason that you said, is the fear instilled in us children with fairy tales and things like that. So the wild wolf is so much like us in so many ways. I mean, the packs are families. There's a pair, and they have a litter, and the pack takes care of the litter. They take care of each other. They communicate. They've even talked about how they work together and refine their hunting strategies when they're out, because many times they fail when they're hunting, and they learn, and then they re-strategize, and they go and have a successful kill. We've had ranchers tell us that they don't want packs near their area to be disturbed or killed like they do, because those packs have learned to coexist with that rancher's land and that rancher's livestock. And when you remove more of the leadership of the pack, the younger pack members, they don't get that teaching and about, we hunt, we're hunting elk and how to survive. So they're going to go for the lower hanging fruit, which may be a calf or a lamb, right? But when you leave the pack alone and you find that balance, they actually teach those youngsters to go after these types of prey. Does depredation happen? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there's a structure and a hierarchy, and they teach each other and they help each other. And we often equate that to families. They actually have baby for the pups. Wolf dogs are a combination of wolf and dog. We in the rescue community label them either high, mid, or low content, right? And you can do DNA tests, and there's one out there that is more favored than the other in terms of its reliability. And people, assign that label to them, high, mid, or low. And then, there are people out there breeding them, and they like to promote, the content. And unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a high demand for the lower content, which is like our two boys. And we spend a lot of time and money rescuing those low content wolf dogs because others aren't interested so much in them as they are in the mid and the high, at least if you're purchasing, a wolf dog. And it's really unfortunate. I was on Facebook the other day, and someone called low content wolf dogs, ugly crap animals. And, I find that appalling, honestly. But it was, it was a breeding group and a breeding discussion. And, I guess those dogs aren't profitable. So we spend our time rescuing those dogs because they deserve a chance. They were brought into this world not by their choice by any means. And I certainly wouldn't call them that. And again, getting back to words matter, right? So there are a lot of people who have wolf dogs. Having a wolf dog is not the same as having a dog, and I think that's really important. So education is key. Even though our two are low content, we have the appropriate fencing, it's 6 feet high, the appropriate diet, the appropriate attention, the enrichment that they need, socialization. Everyone is different, you know, and you just like people, right? And it's just really important that people have an understanding of what it takes to have a wolf dog as a companion. So, and there's amazing wolf dog owners out there, and then there's not so great ones.
And so the ones that they're not the great ones, they're the ones that are going to be rescues for you. Is that how it works? They can't handle them, and then eventually.
Well, yeah, you know, sometimes those rescues come to us because someone is wonderful and loves their wolf dog, but have fallen on hard times, or circumstances have changed, or they're ill. You know, a life-threatening illness. So I don't want to say that they're all, you know, not so great owners that end up asking us for help. There are some amazing people out there who, you know, such as life, right, through horrible circumstances, can no longer keep their wolf dog, and those are emotional and agonizing rescues, and really, really hard. And then you have the ones where these poor creatures have been in a kennel for months and months and months, or, you know, abused, found in basements, starved, abused, you know, you get the full spectrum of the situation.
Yeah. And so, Betsy, you've got a fundraiser going at the moment to help you know, look after some of those wolf dogs.
Yes.
And would you like to share?
I can hear Rebecca just now. Make sure you so Eagle Tail Sanctuary, Kelly Reed took in 47 of those high desert wolf dogs, half of them about at the very end when we had run out of time. They were about to be euthanized. And so, you know, like every dog, cat, they need veterinary care. And because these wolf dogs are, for the most part, very shy, will need to be handled on premise with a mobile vet. She's an experienced wildlife wolf dog mobile vet. They're going to be there for 3 days, finishing up some spays, doing some health checks, some dentals, vaccinations, things like that. And so we're raising money. The cost is just under $18,000 for 3 days of this mobile vet. And, you know, it's because these are special animals that have different requirements, and they all need to be sedated regardless, and because they're not social enough to be put on a lead and that sort of thing. So we're close. The last I checked, I think we need about 3,000 more, and then we have a donor who's going to give us 6,000, and that will put us at the goal. So we just need $3,000 more, and then we get our $6,000 match, and then we will have made our goal. The mobile vet will be at Eagle Tail this Saturday setting up. So obviously the countdown is on, and every little bit helps. And the GoFundMe link is there running across the screen now. And if anyone could help out, that would be absolutely amazing. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what we do. We committed to those animals in 2018. It's 2020. We're still committed, you know, and here we are helping fund this care.
Yeah, wonderful. And yeah, I'd love for anybody who feels called to donate, to help save those beautiful animals. And yeah, really, I have a high admiration for the work that you're doing and the impact you're having, the ripple effect that you're having in the world. And another question I have for you is, what would you say to a woman who wants to strike out and do something, have an impact, change the world? What would you say? You know, what are some of the qualities that you feel that you need, or some advice you would give somebody?
Well, one thing I learned is focus the vision of what you wanted to do. I felt we were very focused in the beginning, and then we started going in a few different directions, and we've refocused for 2021. And there'll be more to come on that. So definitely be very clear and embrace it. Because that's another thing I've learned recently is, you know, things come in packages you may not be expecting. Like you may have in your mind, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be this. And then all this stuff starts coming at you and you're like, no, I want to be this and I want to be this. When it's really is that, it's just coming to you with a different colored ribbon and package than you thought it should come in. And that's when we get out of our own way, right? And start doing what it is that we know we can be doing. So fully embrace it and be open to the fact that it might not come to you exactly the way you want, but it's definitely coming to you. And lead by example. Lead by example to the best of our ability. We do things in our everyday lives that are kind to animals, cruelty-free, plant-based diet, sustainable, anything I can, I buy secondhand. So lead by example is another. And check your ego at the door is a big one, right? I mean, you have to, everybody, if you bring a team together, listen to what they have to say, and understand that everybody has a contribution. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And you need to make them feel the same passion that you feel. So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you are a really beautiful role model, embodying everything that you talk about and that you teach, and obviously leading an amazing team. And yeah, well, thank you so much for all the wisdom and for sharing about the wolves and educating me and our audience. And just one more question: what's on the horizon? So you're just completing Operation Cupid Arrow or starting it, but what's got 2021 in store for you?
Well, there's the beginnings of a project that I'm not gonna dig into just yet because I'm still fleshing it out, but it's called Project Titus, and Titus in Latin means saved. So it's called Project Titus, and we're working on it right now, so there's more to come. We'll be focusing on fine-tuning our messaging to our current donors and bringing in new donors, that we are the only organization that does this type of funding for other organizations and rescues, and that there is a need for us. And so we'll be fine-tuning that messaging to try and grow that side of Plan B. And then from an advocacy standpoint, which falls under our Wolf Nation umbrella, as well as another entity we're creating called Protect Arizona Wildlife, we're really going to be focusing our efforts locally again, because it was so successful with the killing contest. There are a lot of things going on here in Arizona as it relates to the Mexican gray wolf and wildlife that we'd like to get involved with, in addition to obviously whatever we can do to support other initiatives going on with the gray wolf delisting and what's happening in other states. But we'll continue to help with all that, but we're going to put boots on the ground here in Arizona when it comes to wolves and wildlife.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. So yeah, I'm so impressed with the work that you're doing and the impact that you're having, and yeah, the reach that you're having. It's really, really impressive. And I'm sure that our audience would have learned a lot and gained a lot. So I'm so grateful that you came here and shared with us. And if there's any contact that you want to mention to our audience before we bring this in for landing, or how they can reach you.
Yeah, definitely. You can follow us on Facebook, Plan B to Save Wolves. You can also send us an email, info@planb.foundation. Our website has a phone number and email contact on there as well, if you didn't remember this or write it down. So, and I'm also on Facebook. So just shoot me a message. And yeah, we'd love to have you get involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Betsy. And I'm so excited because I'm going to the sanctuary that you kind of started your wolf journey on in Rimrock on Saturday. So I'm going to have a wolf experience. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah. Well, thank you so much again, Betsy, and all the very best for this year. And I'm hoping you're going to meet your goal, your fundraising goal, and yeah, I'm sure you will. Let's hold space for that. So,
well, I believe in miracles. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. All the best. And thank you very much for listening, everybody who's on the call and everybody who will be listening to the recording. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you next week for another amazing interview.